Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Well-Appointed Desk. Today, I wanted to start a series where I talk about some of my favorite types of pens. Some of these videos will be like a style of pen, and some will be an actual brand or specific model of pen. But I decided I would start with my largest collection, and that is the Kaweco Sports. And I have a couple of the Kaweco AL Sports. Excuse me. So I started collecting these very early on, which is how I've sort of ended up with this many. And I started collecting them partially because they're very, very inexpensive. These pens sell for about $30 a piece US. The AL Sports, depending on where you purchase it, if it's a limited edition, those types of things can range in price from anywhere from $75 to $200, just depending. This one is from the standard AL Sport line from, I think, this past year. I forget what the color name of this model is. I don't know if it's teal or cyan or something like that. But then the one next to it is from Bungu Box. It is the June Bride something blue, which I've had for several years. And it was like a super limited edition and sold for about $150 US, I think. That's my best guess. Like I said, it's been several years, and I don't know that you could find one anywhere but the secondhand market at this point. While the AL Sports, and these are just aluminum, they're anodized aluminum designs, which makes them a little bit different, and it does make them a little weightier. The plastic models, and there is also a line called the Art Sport, which is actual resin instead of plastic, and those tend to go for probably somewhere between $100 and $130, $140. But yeah, so my enthusiasm for these is that they tend to write really well. They're super portable, they're very reasonably priced, and the fact that they come in a lot of different colors and materials. They have raw brass, they have silver aluminum, they have their tumbled that basically look like they've been riding around in somebody's pants pocket through the washing machine repeatedly, so it's already sort of all dinged up. So there are a lot of different aesthetic options, everything from, bright pink colors to more sedate black, navy, burgundy, that kind of thing. So I feel like you could find one that you liked aesthetically, regardless of your personal, whatever your personal taste is. So to get into these in more detail, if you're not familiar with a Kaweco Sport, the cap twists off and can be stuck on the back, and makes them just a decent length. It's probably not as long as some pens, but makes them easy to use on a day-to-day basis. Small enough, like I have very tiny hands, and these would fit comfortably, in a pocket, in one of those little slot pockets in a backpack. I tend to prefer the fine and the extra fine models of the Kaweco Sport because I tend to use them on whatever paper I have handy, and so a lot of times that's like writing on a receipt or writing on an invoice or, something like that, where the paper quality may not be fountain pen friendly, and the fine or the extra fine is a little less likely to bleed or feather to the same extent that a medium or a broad or a larger pen would. This one, I believe this one does have ink in it. One of the things to note is that when you purchase the Kaweco, it just comes with a cartridge. There are mini converters available from Kaweco that will fit into this tiny little barrel, because when you put this here, you can see there is not a lot of space here for a long plunger. So Kaweco makes a mini converter that will fit in here. It does not hold a lot of ink. If your goal is to be able to put other ink colors in, you can do that. Some people will just refill an empty cartridge and kind of reuse that a couple of times before it doesn't seat tightly onto the pen and might cause some leakage. So it's like you can get 2 or 3 refills out of a cartridge before you need to swap it out. So this one is a fine model. This is probably one of my oldest. It has this standard clip like the contemporary style clip, which is just a straight clip. They sell for about $7 to $10. That's as an add-on. I also have the classic clip, which has kind of a curve on it. And honestly, the first ones I ever bought were the black and the white. This black one is the guilloche model, so it does have these fine etched lines on it that I think are really pretty. And this one was probably, like, I used it so much, I basically wore off a lot of the guilloche, and I bought a replacement while I still could. So you can kind of tell, like, the guilloche here is really starting to wear off. I don't know if that'll show in the video, but definitely affects the overall look. But yeah, so these are just really convenient, easy to use. This is the fine on just standard Tomoe River 52 GSM. Let's see, what have I got in here? This one is also a fine. And I am notorious for using my Kawecos with whatever cartridges I have handy, which I refer to as cartridge roulette. I just throw all the cartridges I own into a big bucket and I just pull them out randomly. So oftentimes I will end up with a lot of blue and black ones, but sometimes there'll be this, you know, random purple color, or this is probably Diamine Oxblood, because I know I bought a box of those cartridges. I have been known in the past to get the nibs ground on the Kawecos. This one was done by Matthew Chen. It is similar to a Naginata Togi, but is actually more of a crisp metallic kind of. And the joke, of course, is that I had him like having a nib grind on a $30 pen. The nib is now more valuable than the pen, than the actual pen barrel, which is fine. I don't mind. So this one has Robert Oster Campfire in it, so it probably has, yeah, it has the mini converter. You can almost see it through the white iridescent material. So it just has this little converter. And people joke they don't hold a lot of ink, but if you're using a fine or an extra fine nib, that really is probably fine. You don't need a, you know, you're not going to use a ton of ink like you would if you were doing a calligraphy or something like that. So of all of these, some of them I have not even used. I just got into the habit of collecting them because I liked the colors. The sage one is relatively new. A couple of these, like these two, I think came from a collection that was done in Hong Kong one year. They were sold as a set that I had a friend pick up for me and ship over. And then the joke here is that this one is actually a rollerball model, and I hacked in a different refill because the one that I had was out of ink. So it looks a little wonky, but it allowed me to use like a super extra fine like rollerball tip. I think this is the zebra Parker style refill in here. But yeah, so I mean, you can just as likely get a ballpoint or rollerball model of these as well if you wanted to have a set or a collection. I think having the black be a fountain pen and the gray be a ballpoint or rollerball is kind of cool. So I could put the whole set together. But anyway, so this is sort of my collection. I have sold a few over the years and, you know, have kind of slowed down accumulating. I have a pretty good collection. I missed a couple that I wish I would have gotten. There was a translucent violet purple color that I wish I would have picked up because it was really pretty. But again, I kind of have a rainbow, so I feel like I did a good job. Do you own a Kaweco Sport? Yay or nay? Do you like them? I know some people have said in the past that they had issues with the nibs. I never have, but I tend to I mean, I don't know that, like, when you get into like the calligraphy style nibs that they offer, the issue becomes the feed has trouble keeping up with a nib that wide. So I really do recommend these at an extra fine, or maybe a medium. And I know a lot of people really like the medium because it's very, very smooth. So that is my Kaweco Sport collection and my Kaweco AL Sports. Is there any pen that you collect a lot of? Leave a note in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. And I will talk to you again soon.